your own guru, you'd know your way out of that.
Oh, right. Right. I see.
And so how's that working for you?
There we go.
You know, you're not your own guru if you're looking here and looking there, and going to all these gurus and hoping to find something you can cling to. Then you're not your own guru. It's bullshit. If you were your own guru, you would never watch a video, never read a book, nothing. So that's such a game people run on themselves. You know, I have no problem with people wanting to be their own guru. But being your own guru doesn't mean that you're running around reading some books or, you know, watching videos or anything. Then you're taking secondhand knowledge and you think, I'm going to hear just the right thing and it's going to click. Well, then, you know, you're still coming to a guru, whether you want to admit it or not. If you're your own guru, you're not reading any books, no nothing. You're inside yourself alone. That's it. You're not attending workshops. You're not buying spiritual books. None of that. And so for people to say, oh, I'm my own guru, you know, and yet they're running all over the place looking for any little thing they can glean to, then they're fooling themselves. You know, they're running a con on themselves. That's fine. You know, I'm teaching myself. Of course, I don't know which direction to go, but I'm teaching myself. I'm lost in suffering and ignorance, but I'm my own guru. And so being lost in suffering and ignorance, you can be your own guru how? You have to know the way out to be the guru. And you don't know the way out. That's the point blank truth of it. One is in suffering. If you knew the way out of suffering and you were qualified to be your own guru, you wouldn't be in suffering. You know? And that's the thing that's just so, you know, it's so ridiculous if you look at it. Yes, the external guru is there to connect one to the internal, to point and to pull away the things so one can find that internal. That internal will resonate. Okay. But to think one has the tools when they're in darkness and blindness is foolishness. It's what the Bible says. Then you have a fool for a master. It's a reason it says that. Then one has a fool for a master because one doesn't know. You're your own guide, but you have no map. The only map you have is that of suffering. And so you can get out of it how? That's like saying, well, I'm going to be my own heart surgeon. Of course, I know nothing about it, but I'm going to do it myself. I have the inner propensity for anything. Well, you do, but you've got to go and learn how to do it. Okay.
This message obviously just doesn't sink in with people.
No. And we all want to think that we're going to be the one that, we can be our own guru. And there's so much of a mistaken notion around that. Yes, we learn everything from life is a teacher of some sort. And we can learn from everything in life up to a degree, but it's not going to pull one out of suffering. Okay? We can learn a lot, I'm not saying you can't learn anything. I thought that too. For a lot of years, I wanted to be my own guru. I don't need no stinking guru. And I got news for you. If I didn't have that stinking guru, I would still be on the wheel of suffering. Absolutely, point blank, 100%, I can guarantee it. Even in the midst of a Kundalini awakening and all this stuff was happening, phenomena, anything you wanted to know in the world would be right there at your fingertips. But it was like a radio channeling and you knew really nothing. Sounded good on the surface.
People don't realize they're suffering, and they would have to acknowledge that they're in suffering in the first place, I suppose.
Well, yeah. People have to cognize their suffering and their way isn't working. And they're still on the wheel of karma. They're still run by their emotions. They're still run by all of this drama. The mind is still going in an endless loop of drama. Okay? That's suffering. Point blank, that's suffering. The body comes on this planet and the body's going to go. And it's all transient while it's here. If one is clinging to that transient, trust me, it will be suffering. When the body's breaking down and you're losing everything, all these things you gathered and collected, it will be suffering. That's the truth of it. But like I said, it was the greatest grace that I wound up with my guru, and it was, such the universe has a sense of humor. Because like I said, I had saw a tape before, satsangs with this person, and I said if he was the last person on the face of the planet, I wouldn't go to him. Who did I wind up with? That very Yahoo that I said I wouldn't go to, ever. I would never go to that Yahoo. Are you kidding me? Who needs a guru? I didn't recognize it was him until later. So the universe has got a sense of humor. It was that very person that I was so resistant against was the one that brought my liberation, that, gave that door opening for that. Through tough love. Absolutely shaking the tree as much as it could be shaken. And it wasn't pleasant. And of course, I didn't want a guru because I didn't want any unpleasant. I just wanted to think that I already had something and I knew something, and I knew nothing. He was right. I knew nothing. All the experiences that were happening, there were moments of bliss. There was moments of, this and that, and, a lot of phenomena, but it was nothing. It didn't take one off the wheel of karma and suffering. There was still suffering underneath of it. Still something being driven underneath of it. I don't know. I think people have some false idea, too, about, about sadgurus. that we think we're on some pedestal or something like that, or like we get goody points for saving somebody, and there's nobody to save. All the wind goes out of those sails. The moment of realization, because there's only one, there is no other. There is no higher and lower. One is just obstructed and the other is not, that's all. And because there's the obstructions and not the clarity, one is in suffering. And this game of, separation thinks that they're separate. Not only does the feeling of separation and distinction end, all the storyline that goes with that blows out, is over, done, finished, as if it never were. It's not that one gets a handle on the story. It's gone, never happened, never was. So anyway, people that want to be their own guru, not a problem. Gets less, less work here. But I want them just, people to be honest. If they're going to hear satsangs, if they're listening to satsangs, if they're reading books, and, the sages and any of these things, then they're not their own guru. Be honest in that. One has to get honest with things. That's the first stepping stone. Be honest. Don't take from here and there and then say, oh, I'm my own guru. Well, then you're not your own guru. Everyone learns by experience. You've got to, nobody's going to hand it to anyone. If one has a guru, a sat guru, you still have to make the journey yourself. Nobody's going to make it for you. You still have to learn the lessons yourself. You still have to challenge yourself. You're the one that still has to surrender in the midst of it all into yourself. And quit running from yourself. But if you don't know what direction that is, and most don't, just like they don't know what being in the moment is. It's so cavalier to say, well, I'm in the moment and I'm just being. Well, no, what they're just being, they're being in the midst of turmoil, of their mental constructs, of the past or the what ifs. That's not being in the moment. That's trying to be in the past and the what ifs and the projections. It's not being in the moment. Really, in the moment has none of those constructs on it. Okay? There's not ruminating on the past. There's not projecting into the future. People like these buzzwords, these keywords, and yet they don't understand what they are for the most part. They want to wrap it around ego. They want to wrap it around intellect. They want to wrap it around, and make it a projection of that. Okay? That's the simple part of it, that's all. Satgurus are not the big bad, boogeyman. The only thing somebody has to fear from Satguru is the ego has to fear him because the ego's got to go. The illusion has to fear it. Of course, most people want to construct a bigger illusion, a better illusion. I don't want my illusion, actually tampered with. I want to be in control of my illusion and make it better. Okay. Enjoy that. So many mistaken notions,
People want to stay with those mistaken notions. They don't want to unveil the truth of the situation, apparently.
Well, apparently not. That takes actually stopping and standing still for a moment and looking at things point blank without justification and without the mental spin one wants to put on it to make it seem better than it is or whatever the justification is. People don't want to take a look at themselves. They don't want to sit in silence. They can't stand it. They'll want to fill up the silence with speech, with this, with that. What are they so afraid they're going to encounter? It's uncomfortable for them. Much easier to chase after this and that and the other thing. Fill it up with endless stuff. More and more teachings, more and more teachers, more and more this, whatever it is, doesn't matter. Even if it's something that's quote-unquote spiritual in nature, it's still occluding drama. And one has to be willing to stop chasing the drama, the show, the spiritual show. Just another show. So that's all. It would be nice to meet somebody that actually is their own guru. Never met one yet. Including this one. When I was a seeker and stuff and thought I was my own guru. So how do I know that's what happens? Because I've been there. Yeah, one's really only their own guru when all the games end and one is in that point of that, that the spontaneous inquiry arises and it's cutting rather than grasping at straws, when it's really so, the focus is totally inwards, then and only then can one say that they're their own guru, because at that point it's in the process of cutting everything. It's not trying to construct something, it's all deconstructing. But even at that, one still needs to have some sort of, guiding thing to understand what's taking place as all these things are being cut. Still beneficial to have someone that one can go to and find out, yes, this is, beneficial. Continue. That's all. So those that want to be their own guru, great. I applaud. Be your own guru. But really be your own guru. Don't be looking for secondhand knowledge, you know. One's got to be within themselves fully. If you know yourself, you'll know God. I'm not talking about the me, I'm talking about self prior to that me construct. Not looking left, not looking right. Not projecting outward, not looking forward, not looking back. "100% in that heart center. Unmoving. Then there's a chance. Then there's a chance.